right, my English teacher friends, Kristian Kuhn coming at you again, affectionately known as the Bob Ross of composition. And this is the culminating video in my art of styling sentences. So video 1 is patterns 1 through 5, video 2, 6 through 10, video 3 is 11 through 15, and video 4, which I have before you right here, is patterns 16 through 20. I'm going to keep this video very brief because I think teachers that have been following along and started at video 1, which of course you should do, you want to go chronologically through these, you get the gist of what I'm doing, and I don't need to unpack and over explain this. So I'll show you a couple of slides and just reiterate how I structure this in my lessons and in my course. So without further ado, let's take a look at patterns 16 through 20. But I lied. I actually want to make a pitch. Could you please subscribe to the channel, Kristian Kuhn, the Bob Ross of composition. Tell your friends, colleagues, students far and wide, and let's get the good word out there. So again, just to reiterate, one of the things that I do very early in the year is introduce my students to a concept that I call a nuance academy, just to ensure that they have all the fundamentals for grammar, punctuation, syntax, but I also teach nuance in terms of voice, rhythm, and flow. And part of that is largely stemmed in a seminal text by Strunk and White called Write It Right. And they have something called rule number 18, in which they espouse the idea that there's 12 different sentence types. But the kicker to that is you can take those types and pattern them 20 different ways. And that's what takes us to this video. We're learning the sentence patterns. So in the links below in the description of this video, you can find yourself a copy of Strunk and White's Write It Right. It's for free. It's a PDF down there. And then all of the slides that are in these videos, the Etch-A-Sketch slides, are also available for download. And then I should probably give credit where credit is due. I learned about these patterns from a book called The Art of Styling Sentences by Anne Longknife and Katie Sullivan. So I just kind of readapted it and made it student-friendly in this exercise and broke down some of the jargon and the verbiage because it can get pretty heavy at times, especially when you get into all the wrinkles and nooks and crannies of the parts of speech. So as always, I Bob Ross my instruction. I got plenty of exemplars and models for you. So for each pattern, I have modeled it 5 times. So all you need to do and your students need to do is follow my lead. Monkey see, monkey do. And again, just to kind of explain this, I know a lot of AP teachers in particular have thrown in the towel on teaching specifically to the sophistication point. I think sentence patterning is absolutely essential in terms of cultivating the voice, the rhythm, the flow. That is essential for students to be in contention for that sophistication point. So I'm not a doomsday prognosticator. I think, kids definitely can situate themselves better to earn that point. So let's jump right in and take a look at pattern 16. So pattern 16 is what is known as a paired construction. And oftentimes in parlance, we make combos like not only, but also, just as, so too, the more, the former, the latter, if not at least. So those are some of the common pairs that we use to construct sentences. So let's unpack that, and I'll give you 5 examples here. Neither the doctor's warnings nor his girlfriend's admonishments prompted him to consider giving up vaping. So that neither nor construct is nice to wield every now and then. And again, I don't see students typically do that unless they are explicitly taught that. Number 2, not only do I not eat meat, but I also only eat raw vegetables. So I just borrowed one of those stems in that first slide, concocted a sentence around it, and students do the same, just an original sentence around the construct. The more I listen to Taylor Swift, the more I appreciate artists who are talented lyricists. So the more, right? Just some comboing here. Number 4, just as Todd gets good grades, so too is he a fantastic and dedicated athlete. So that just as, so too. And the last one is, if not a vacation to Disney World, at least plan a trip to the Bahamas. If not, at least. Right. So very versatile sentence pattern, and students can use that all the time if they like. And again, after I show it 5 times, I have my students give it a whirl and try 5 of their own. And I tell them, just, think of some random thing going on in your life and wield a sentence around that. So for the rest of these, I'll just give you a quick glimpse. I don't want to make this a long video and drone on and on and on. Teachers can figure this out. So pattern number 17 is a dependent clause in a sentence slot as subject or object or complement. So as always, I show them how to do this. I try my hand at it, and I'll just give you a couple here. Why he continues to date Samantha baffles the heck out of me, right? Note the pattern here, right? Kids immediately see this. So you usually begin with like what, why, how, words that trigger a question, but you're not asking a question. So here's number 2. Why so many people support the meat industry constantly perplexes me. And as you can see, I got 3, 4, and 5. Students try their hand at it. And then there's pattern 18, which is an absolute construction. And you can put that anywhere in the sentence. And I'll just give you a flavor of it. So number 1 says, the New York Knicks, if fate wills it, will win the NBA title this year, right? So that, in between the commas is where you place the absolute construction. And I'll just show it one more time. I always lie. I say I'm going to show you once, but I show you twice. My AP student, burnt to a crisp, limped toward the finish line. So again, that burnt to a crisp is what you got cooking there. So there's 3, 4, 5. Students try it 5 times. And then you got pattern 19, which is super easy. The short, simple sentence for relief or dramatic effect. Pretty cool. And just simple things like patience is a virtue, or students can say, close your mouth, or something like, well, maybe so. I'll give you them all here. But then it was over. And the last one, years flew by. So that's a great sentence construct when they get to the conclusion of their syllogisms, when they're using my heuristic just to wrap things up with emphasis and make a real poignant tie back to the thesis or to keep the promise of their first premise. And you guessed it, they try 5 of their own. And then to wrap things up perfectly, ta-da, pattern number 20, the deliberate fragment. So we might say, now let's eat. So the now is the deliberate fragment. And then number 2, first, tie your shoes. So the first is the fragment. And then I got 3, 4, and 5 right there. So as always, your students might need a little bit more modeling and might need to see some more exemplars. Some of these patterns are more challenging than others, so I had to be Johnny on the spot and crank some off the top of my head just to demystify it for kids. But invariably, they get it, they see it. So if you need to reach out to me for any reason, you can drop me an email at teachingwritingcoach@gmail.com. I also have a web page, www.teachinghowtowrite.com. So many of you know I'm a lead teacher for National Writing Project. I present for NCTE, do a little bit of work with the College Board, Applied Practice, Perfection Learning, various webinars and PDs. And I quickly want to run through the professional development opportunities that I'm going to be offering in the coming months. So a staple course that I ran for a number of years with the National Writing Project was called the Teach It Right 5-Week Mastermind. And typically we would have anyways from 15, 20, 25 teachers attend that. And when we asked for feedback, I think the most prominent statement was this: man, oh man, I wish I could get you one-on-one because my needs are so specific. And for example, I only teach on level ninth graders and 10th graders, and we never do rhetorical analysis. I've never taught rhetorical analysis in my career. So the week that we did rhetorical analysis really wasn't pertinent for me. And I've heard you loud and clear on that. So I'm giving teachers an opportunity to work one-on-one with me. And also some departments have worked with me as well. So I can work with departments. And we'll just do a mentorship around your specific needs, wants, the demands of your course load and the constraints of your department and district. And, we could do anything AP Lit, AP Lang. I've taught both courses for 22 years. I've run the gamut 9 through 12 on level, even done some credit recovery. And I teach at the college level. So I have worked in the SUNY system for over 20 years. So if you want to talk about your specific needs, feel free to give me an email and we can debrief, and I could even do a discovery call with you to show you what the whole kit and caboodle is about. Comment number 2 in the feedback was, oh, sorry, I missed so many classes. Life's busy, teacher, family, kids. I wish you could offer a self-paced course. So I've done that. So I have a 10 video series and we go over everything. Word Study Academy, Nuance Academy. There's videos for the whole lit course, Lang course, each grade level. Alternative grading methods, break down poetry, prose, rhetorical analysis, synthesis, argument, persuasion, even research. And then one of my favorite course offerings is a crowd pleaser, is my alternative grading methods. I do a lot of this with Perfection Learning and the National Writing Project. And again, I offer it in a group setting. And the main feedback is, man, I wish you could show me this for my specific needs one-on-one. So what I can do is offer a 2-hour intensive where we take a look at your actual, grading load, and I'll show you how to alternatively grade those so that you can reclaim your evenings and weekends. I think the traditional grading paradigms for the birds, and I don't do it all that often. And